All right. So, welcome to another collaborative conversation. My guest is Natasha Carter. I am super excited. She has a bio that I'm going to read. I normally don't do that, but we're about to just go ahead with it so you all can know who she is a little bit more. She is a resilient domestic violence survivor. She
Mhm.
is a dedicated educator. She's also a community leader who uses her lived experience to empower and uplift others. As the driving force behind Flying 360, she also leads impactful initiatives supporting individuals affected by domestic violence, homelessness, and systematic inequalities. Through her advocacy and leadership, she is committed to helping individuals heal, rebuild, and step into their power. So, welcome, Miss Carter.
Thank you.
Um, All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And so, for anybody who is joining, I usually do the collaborative conversation bi-weekly. I have different guests. If you're ever interested, just send me a message because I think it is powerful to just talk to people and hear some of their stories or just like what they did to move through things and everything else, because we all do have a story. And so, being mindful that we all do have a story. It may be just the slightest thing that ends up inspiring someone else just by sharing your story. So I'm a big proponent of that. And this has been like really fun for me and exciting. So, oh, so I gave you my little thing, but why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you do?
So, like you said, I am a domestic violence survivor. I am a mother of two. I am definitely grateful for that. And I don't take that lightly. I am a licensed teacher, educator with 5 licenses, specializing in math. Um, but I'm also a community advocate. I have a passion just for doing
Mm-hmm.
and for helping people. So that's pretty much a major part of my life outside of family and being a mother.
Okay. And so you said you have the certification as far as math. So, and I'm just going to, sometimes it just ends up being a conversation because I'm going to go ahead and ask. Because that is like, most people are like, I do good at everything but math. So, what helped you, kind of choose that? Because that's the thing. It's like almost everybody is scared of math. And here you are like, oh no, I'm about to help everybody get that thing.
Yeah, I
What
don't know. Math came easy. I wasn't always able or wasn't willing or
Mhm.
didn't have the permission to always talk. But one thing about numbers is that you're able to always use numbers in the way that you want to and express yourself in that. So I just took in the fact with math and I just started loving it and I started
Mhm.
immersing myself more and more in it. And that's just it's something that I feel like is just a natural part of me that will always be a part of me. ELA is not my thing, but I have learned over the years, being a teacher to be versatile and everything else like that. But math
Uh-huh.
is my go to.
Oh, nice. Like I
Yeah.
said, that was one of the things that's like, honey, if I got to take this one more time for the same class,
That was me with ELA.
uh-huh. It's like, come on, somebody help me. And I think it makes a huge difference when you have someone who actually knows how to teach. Because what I found is some people enjoy a subject, but that doesn't mean that they're a good teacher of the subject.
No, that's just the truth. And sometimes, even though you enjoy it, I had to learn how to teach it.
Hmm.
There were certain things, and the learning part is not so much learning the subject matter, is learning how
Hmm.
to deal with people, learning
Hmm.
how to understand their certain individual skill set, their disabilities. Because really, I'm a special ed teacher, but I love
Oh.
math. So
Hmm.
my first thing is special ed, but so I had to be taught those things. But
Mhm.
math is my thing, but teaching it, I had to be taught how to teach it.
Okay. And I'm glad that you said that because and hopefully some people are listening to that. And that goes for just a lot of subjects because I remember having like when I was in college and the teachers were not great, and it's like even going to the study lab, it's like everybody by the time you finish with it, you done get 4 or 5 different ways of how to do this problem. and,
Just
and
one
none of them seemed
problem.
to none of them seemed to work for me because on the test time I just was having a hard time.
Because
So
you had so many, avenues, and you didn't know which one would actually be the perfect one, and you was trying to put it all together. So it
honey,
wasn't your fault.
yes. Listen, and I'm just like, okay, that is not my strong suit, and we just go to. I can do enough to get by, amen, and that's it.
That's how I feel with ELA.
Okay. So, if you were a book, what would the title of your book be and why?
What can we say and what can't we say? Because I mean, I have a
You
title.
no, this is the thing. So you say what you want to say because that's come on. You first of all, it's me, so I'm gonna be safe to say whatever comes to mind.
The title that I always had in my head as I started my healing journey is I'm not your bitch anymore. That's
Okay.
that would be the title of my book.
Okay. And is that self-explanatory for your why, huh?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. And so did you find that meant like across the board for a lot of things? Cuz sometimes we may like limit it to a person or a situation, but did you
Mhm.
find that title just like went across the board like I'm not yours, theirs, hers, his, just none of y'all's anymore. Is that kind of like the idea with that?
D- Absolutely, because being a domestic violence survivor don't just mean that situation.
Right.
Because what ends up happening is that you develop certain mannerisms, certain survival skill
Mhm.
sets that you wouldn't normally have. But some people do take advantage of your vulnerability. And
Mhm.
what I realized is that it wasn't just in a relationship
Mhm.
where I was being taken advantage of. It was in friendships, it was at work,
Mhm.
different avenues. And um, I think the most part was because I was going through the domestic violence that I learned not to speak up for myself,
Right.
and that end up happening across the board with my family,
Mhm.
at work and things like that. So no, that title goes for everything.
Okay. And I'm glad that you said that because I know that we all have our vulnerabilities and places, and it does seem that when people know or recognize a thing that they exploit it.
Exactly.
And if you're not, like you said, in the space of using your voice, which obviously if you're advocacy now, you're using your voice pretty good. So,
I am, and w- people like me. I would like to say women like me.
Mhm.
That I always used to speak up for myself, and then it became you are too boisterous. You are too
Mhm.
dependent, independent.
Mhm.
Why don't you calm that down? Why don't you? And so then you start thinking like, well, maybe they're right.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mhm.
certain things are happening because I'm speaking up too much. Maybe I need to let things go and just let it be. And then what I realized is that again, people take advantage
Mhm.
and they use that as more so a weakness than just like she really want to work with people and just get along and just move forward instead of
Mhm.
making things combative.
And I think just like you said, especially for women, um, it was always kind of viewed when you used your voice for a lot of people as combative, as opposed to just standing your ground, or that you
Mhm.
had something to say about whatever the subject is. It was viewed as like, oh, you're not because we're supposed to play nice and we're supposed to be nice, and you're not supposed to do this, and you're not, we got to be good girls, and and all of that kind of stuff. And so it kind of kind of makes you not honor who you are or tell the truth. Because I think the bigger thing is the truth end up getting uncomfortable for people. And so that's when it's like, oh well, maybe you want to tone it down a little bit, or whatever. It's like, no, it's still gonna make it the truth. Even if I whisper it, it's still a truth.
And that part, and I think a lot of it, and I could be wrong, but just
Hmm.
my experience, I think a lot
Yeah.
of it has to do with just growing up in the Southern household,
Hmm.
where the men took the lead and the men
Hmm.
were loud, and the women just that not so much sat in the background, because we still was powerful, and we still did certain things in the
Hmm.
household and kept it together. But when it came to leading, let the man be the man, let the man handle it, let this. And then
Hmm.
sometimes when as my experience, when there's not necessarily that man in the household, then it's like not so much you're trying to speak up and be that person, but you're just trying to speak up because that's just the thing to do.
Right.
Then it becomes a problem. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think just kind of changing that, and I don't know if it's strictly Southern, because growing up in Detroit, I think that was a message at times as well. Not so much my individual experience, but I did notice in other places where that type of stuff was spoken. It's like, oh, you got to kind of let people be who they are, and this,
Mhm.
that, and the other. I'm actually kind of grateful for being raised by my father, because I don't think I
Mhm.
had some of that, because he wasn't telling me to like lower my voice or whatever. He was calm speaking, but he just let me kind of speak. There were certain things I knew I couldn't, like that was more, I think,
Right.
kind of
Of course.
churches, just because we grew up in that black household, So
Of course.
I
Of
think
course.
there's some of that, like, children are seen and not heard, and, those kind of things.
That part, I felt like it was a Southern thing, but that might just be a Black household thing, because that's exactly how I grew up. Kids are seen and not heard.
But,
I'm not
all
sharing
of the
something. Hmm.
all the Northerners came from the South. So at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. Because, my father was from Arkansas. So it's like, and my mother was from Tennessee. So, we still had
Hmm.
that, even though we're, up north, most of them, migrated, from the South. And so there was still that
Hmm.
dynamic in those messages, I think, for people. So yes. Okay. So, can you think of someone or something that over a short period of time has had a really big impact on you in your life?
When you say a short period of time, is that recent or just in general?
In general, something that was like, dang, that kind of made me pivot, or caused a shift, or,
What's a short period of time?
whatever you decided, that's what it is.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. What caused the shift for me in a short period of time, and that means like I didn't know them all my life. I
And
just
that's fine.
started my
It's
my
your intuition.
process.
Yeah, it's your question, so you get to answer it how you want to.
My
Hmm.
therapist, I have to say that. I'm not gonna say who, but I'm just
Hmm.
saying my therapist definitely. I had a great one in Charlotte.
Hmm.
She opened my eyes to things that I was scared of.
Hmm.
I'm gonna cry about it, but there were moments where I had to be strong enough to talk to my own mother,
Hmm.
because and it wasn't that I was scared of her per se. I think I was just so used to not using my voice that when I
Hmm.
did it, I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to let it be, and maybe things would just magically be
Hmm.
better. And then when I came back to New York, there was a dynamic. I knew that my relationships were broken with men, and when I definitely seeked a therapist. This time around, I wanted a man, because
Hmm.
I was like, I just needed that aspect of it. So, and when I say a short period of time, we're talking about 2 to 3 years,
Right.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
my life has changed in tremendous ways, and I'm thankful, because I always remember those life teachings.
Hmm. Hmm.
That still helps me to this day.
And I think the thing that you said that was extremely powerful, that I don't think people hear enough, is that when you do use your voice, it doesn't mean that everything magically falls into place. It just is like you get to use your voice. And sometimes people are going to be hurt because sometimes it doesn't feel good to know, the truth about yourself or certain aspects of yourself. There are times where, even when I was, as I am, still getting therapy and everything else. And not too long ago, I was talking, to my therapist, and he said something, and I was like, I got real snappy, and it's like, oh, wow, I need to pay attention to that.
Those
Because we
are the
have
good moments, though.
it's the good moments, and there isn't a easy way to undo
No.
all of the stuff. It is a process. It is going to be, when you say, oh, it took a couple of years, that's still a short period of time, because how many years, when you compare to all of the other stuff, it's really not that long, because you had all of these other years of however things were going, and then it was like within a couple of years you kind of like got on a different track, and then things start shifting in a different way. So, because there is no magic pill that is like, oh, blink your eyes and everything is great because you have 5 therapy sessions. That is not usually how that works.
No, that's never the case. And what's so funny about that is because with the therapy, I've finally decided to say, I hear you. Take it to God. Pray about it. Pray about it. Pray about it. But the voice kept saying that you need to talk to somebody in the flesh. You need to
Yeah.
say how you feel in the flesh. You need to problem solve in the flesh. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and I honestly believe those messages were coming from God. And I
Hmm.
just, went with it. And thankfully I went with it. And I was just like, I can no longer think which way to go. I need to talk it out. I need somebody to direct me. I need to say how I feel. I need to let everything out. And
Hmm.
and I'm thankful. I'm thankful. It's still a journey. It's
Yeah.
still a journey.
Hmm.
I appreciate what you just said, because you just said you the top notch therapist just said I speak to my therapist. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and I remember one time I was watching Oprah, and this had to be like in the 90s and things like that, right? Not
Yeah.
saying my age, but it was in the 90s. And I remember Oprah was like at her height and
Uh-huh.
everything. And Oprah was like, I was speaking to my therapist, but to call him life coach after a while, like after three
Yeah.
years, it's like, and she was like,
Mhm.
I was speaking to her, and she told, it was like, oh, needing
Yeah.
a lot. So that was kind of like the breakthrough too. Like, it's
Hmm.
okay, because therapy was not something that was a go-to in my family community. It was not. It was
It.
not.
I don't think
It
it's been
was
a
not.
go-to for a lot of people. I think it's starting
Still
to
to
make
this day.
it's starting to make more traction, but I don't think that it has been that, because we all got the go pray, or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, but in that good old book, it do tell you to seek counsel, and I always take credit for that. I'm like, it tells you in the book. It tells you in the book. I'm like, it's in there. It's in there too. However you may want to interpret it, or whoever you think that you're going to, but it's best to just kind of have someone outside of yourself, because what I notice is all of the thoughts are in your head. And if they just stay there and you keep trying to maneuver with new experience on top of new experience plus the old experience and all this, that, and the other, sometimes it's just good to have the release to get it out, and then you're able to be clear because you've kind of, let a valve loose of some stuff that needed to just kind of flow somewhere. So just, get in that space.
Absolutely, because I held a lot in, because like again, it was take it to God and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
me holding a lot of things in then turned into a little anger, and a frustration, not understanding, and
Hmm.
and I held a lot in, so much so that it was actually detrimental to myself, because then
Hmm.
it started showing up in different ways of self sabotaging ways, because I didn't know, because I wasn't letting it go. I wasn't
Right.
talking to anybody. It was just like recycle of thoughts of the anger, recycle of thoughts of what happened to me and not being able to talk about it. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm grateful.
Yes, it
Grateful.
makes a difference. So,
It
what are some
does.
of the qualities that you find important in your friendships and or relationships?
Honesty, honesty. You know what it is to be honest. To consistency.
Mhm.
Consistency is a big thing for me.
Mhm.
I get it. Our lives are our lives and different things. But if you say that you love me and you invested in our friendship or whatever, if I call, I can see if you being too busy the first time. If I call,
Mhm.
maybe the second time or the third time, I'm like, if I call again and you didn't,
We good.
you need to know that something is wrong. So
Right.
consistency is huge for me, because if you say you love
Mhm.
me, then answer that phone. And that goes also with loyalty. And my loyalty is not like, oh, um I know people was like, no matter what, whatever I do, you should always no.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
loyalty is also coupled with the consistency of it, just answering your phone, showing me. My love language is attention
Mhm.
and affirmations. You know what I mean? Thank
Right.
you. I appreciate it when you did
Mhm.
this. Oh, that was great when you did this. So those are the qualities when in my friendship, and those friendships,
Mhm.
the qualities in my friendship goes into my relationships too, because
Mhm.
if I'm dealing with a man and he's not being consistent with
Mhm.
certain things, then what's happening? What am I
Mhm.
missing?
Right.
Yeah, because I feel like you can't say that. For me, just prime example, I can't tell my kids I love them and I only show up once in a while.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Mhm.
Right. That to me, that's not showing that I really care. So my son had I was supposed to go out of town for a business meeting this past weekend. But my son, he didn't know until the last minute he had a play. We already knew that he was gonna have to play, but we
Mhm.
didn't know. So I knew it was big for me to show up. I
Right.
knew it was big for me to say, oh, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you with his rehearsals. I had to continue with the consistency to be like, I'm showing up so I
Right.
can be your biggest fan. So that's my
Mhm.
love language. Consistency. Holding me too don't hurt. Even my friends, give me a hug when I have a hard day. That's fine. Touch, touch is definitely a great, love language as well. So yeah.
And I don't think people realize that because I think especially during COVID got out of the habit of touching because everybody
Oh,
got scared. You know,
they did. I did
like, oh,
too.
I don't want to touch you. I don't want to be near you. I got to be 6 feet. I got to, and I don't know how many people have been comfortable with touch. So if we just throw that out there, um, because I'm just trying to think. I don't know if that's been a big thing. If people are very comfortable with a hug or touch, and we have Xavier Black, the writer, thank you, saying right. So I'm assuming that is about touch, maybe, or consistency, or what have you. But yeah, it makes a difference because it's like people don't like. It's very common. I remember when my daughter was younger, she used to look at me because I would kind of like hug and kiss people or whatever. And she was like, ew. But it was just kind of natural for me to hug people. It was just kind of natural because that was a thing. Like whenever we saw each other, like family wise, it's kind of
Mhm.
common to hug. It's just natural, like we just hug.
It
But
really is,
and
especially
so
for Black folks.
yeah, but there are some people who aren't as familiar with that, even being, of color. That
Like,
are
why
not
you touching me? What's that about? What you doing?
right.
Right,
Right. And I'm like, okay, you okay? Like, are you okay? Like, but I think they've had, well, I know they have studies that those are the things, even for babies, that can like make a difference between life and death is touch. So
that's
being
true.
held,
Yeah.
and everything
Touch
else.
me.
So,
Just ask my permission. It depends on who you are, but it's fine. Like I told my daughter today, it was so funny because I had Stressful, it's here in New York, it's testing time. So what, last week, 2 weeks ago, we had the ELA. This week we have the math and everything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is so stressful. And I'm like, I see my daughter and I'm like, baby, just hug me. And she was like, wait, are you serious? So she gives me a hug and I'm like, no, tighter, tighter, and everything else like that, just to let her know, like, no, I really need a
I'm for
hug
real.
today.
Yeah. And I think it's cool that you did that with your daughter so that, because I think there was this thing when we grew up that, parents always wanted to say that they had it together and they never were vulnerable in that way to just say, you know, I am having a hard day or I need a hug. I think that changes so much and opens communication in a different way and just kind of changes the dynamic that you have with your daughter by you just being so open and vulnerable about, yeah, it was grown-ups have rough days too. Give me a hug.
Yeah, that's so that's so true. Because growing up, I was raised by my grandmother, and she's a Southern woman, but been in New York for so many years and everything else like that. Shout out to my grandmother. I love her so passionately. And one thing that she didn't do was show a lot of affection. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I
Hmm.
would have to tell her like, "Mom, give me a
Hmm.
hug, give me a kiss," and then she would think about it, be a little hesitant, and then she would
Hmm.
do it, and everything else like that. But that I definitely did not grow up with a lot of emotion, not at all. Not
Hmm.
that wasn't the thing. Hugging and kissing, and if you did kiss, you kiss on the cheek, which is fine because my kids
Yeah,
would not
sure.
allow me to kiss them on their lips. But
Yeah.
my point is, it was, if that makes sense, it was so not personable,
Hmm.
if that makes sense, when it
Yeah.
was.
Hmm.
Until she got a little bit older and I got a little bit older, and then I was able to like force her, like, "Come on, so much, help me. I just graduated. Kiss me," things
Yeah,
like that. And
celebrate me.
even
Yeah.
right, even then it was kind of like, okay, but yeah, I didn't grow up in that way.
But but we all learn, and so like I said, it's wonderful that you've changed the dynamic. So you have been able to provide and give. That's why your daughter was okay to give it back.
Yeah, she was.
So
Yeah,
so we look.
I do things that that I, not even so much that I think about it like, oh, I wish
Mhm.
I had this so much, but I
Yeah.
do things that I look back and wish that I have, meaning like we have movie nights and she's like laying in my arms and everything else
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, playing in her hair and taking the little lint out and things like that. But those are our intimate moments of
Mhm.
mommy and me to let her know that I love you.
Mhm.
I'm gonna, there's gonna be certain times when I'm gonna let you know,
Mhm.
like, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if you need me, you can
Mhm.
come to me, because I'm gonna put everything to the side, all of
Mhm.
the, what I went through for the day, and it's just gonna be me and you.
Nice. Yay. So, what would you tell your younger self on how to best prepare for the
Can you repeat that one more time?
You said younger self. What? What? I don't even know if I hear anything after
I, I hear Lewis Hayes in there, but go ahead. I'm hearing.
that. What would you tell your younger self about how to best prepare for the future?
Oh my God. Um, if I could talk to my younger self, I would tell my younger self, be kind to yourself
Mm.
a little bit to prepare. Because
Mhm.
when I was younger, I took a lot of things and made it internally, and it just manifested in so many ways that I didn't like, within myself, self doubt, things like
Mhm.
that. Have fun with yourself,
Mhm.
just forgive yourself.
Mhm.
Um, you'll be all right.
Huge.
What I mean? Like,
That's huge.
life
Yeah.
will definitely, it's not the end of the world, because I always, when I was younger, and yeah. just love on yourself a little bit more and be a little kinder to
Mhm.
yourself. That's it.
And I think, like you said, the forgiveness, I think that's a huge piece too.
It is.
Because
It
sometimes
is.
we have this thing of we gotta, punish ourselves 70 times 70 or whatever the heck the thing, whatever, like because it's like,
77 times. Yes.
it's like, do we really need to do all that, or can we just kind of go with the if you forgive, I forgive me too? Like how, because we spend a lot of time and energy on all of the old, trying to get better, or whatever. Like, when does the punishment ever really end if you don't forgive yourself?
Well, because I didn't grow up where therapy was the thing,
Hmm.
that's why I would tell my, it's fine. Forgive yourself a little bit more. But I will also say,
Hmm.
go to therapy.
Hmm.
Um, it's okay. It's not a curse. You're not crazy. You're
Right.
fine. You just need
Right.
to talk to somebody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That would be the so not for nothing, and I'm not telling, my household business,
Mhm.
but we're big on therapy in this household, and I feel like even with having an adult,
Mhm.
even though he will be my baby at all times,
Right.
I always tell him, let's start now because you going to college and everything. You're gonna as I
Yeah.
know, college
Mhm.
is a whole different situation. And it's just like being exposed to the streets.
Mhm.
So you need to be able to express yourself. And then not only that, I know
Mhm.
being a single mother,
Mhm.
things like that. I have not always made possibly the right decisions, but I always had the right intentions, because I always put that in the forefront.
Mhm.
Speak to somebody about it. Speak to
Mhm.
somebody about it. Don't
Mhm.
let it all in. And you might have a great relationship with your father, but deep down inside you want this relationship to be a certain way.
Right.
Talk to somebody. It's not you. It's not
Yeah.
your fault. You didn't do nothing. Don't hold it all in.
Right.
Let it out. If that makes sense. I don't know where I went with that, but yeah.
And that's part of the conversations. We go where we go. It's all valuable information. It is good. There's no need to second guess, because sometimes we'll be talking and I may ask something and we end up somewhere else. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot what the question was. And
Right,
so
that part.
and that's okay, because like it is good to just talk to people, and I think a lot of things come out, and I think a lot of, whether you call them that in the moment, but we have these different epiphanies that happen even as we're having a
Mhm.
discussion, about, oh,
Mhm.
wow, I didn't really think about it that way, but this end up da 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 da, or whatever. So, once again, I enjoy the conversation, and I'm sure, people who are either on or who would listen to it later will definitely get what you're saying. So, and it is nice and refreshing to hear, all of the people with the various backgrounds, and just, it's okay to go talk to someone. It's okay to, to touch.
Mhm.
It's okay to, it's okay to do all of the things that sometimes, we're taught, like, I don't know if that's the way to have, the way to handle that,
Right.
some people are just really uptight. And it takes a lot of, sometimes unlearning those things, because they're so second nature, because you heard them so much, or that you grew up in it, so.
I just like to say this. Yes. So going back to what you just said, unlearning certain things.
Hmm.
I said I wasn't going to cry. I like to say this though. I was so hesitant with doing this tonight because I'm just not that person, right?
Hmm.
And I know that my story can help so many people, but I think that person inside of me, just always say, keep it to yourself. Not everybody needs to know what you're going through.
Hmm.
But my point is, I trust the process with you. And I want to say I truly appreciate you. I just want to put that out there. But I do want to go back to what we were saying as far as unlearning. And I wanted to say I had this great, great, great therapist in North Carolina, right?
Hmm.
And she was allowing me to unlearn so many things that I held in to the point she was just like, "Why are you so fearful? It's just
Mhm.
your mother. Talk to your mother." You
Mhm.
know, and then in the process we had this activity where we had to write a letter. And I was a little hesitant with writing the letter because I was like, I don't want to hurt her, even though I'm hurting, even though, a
Mhm.
part of my self-sabotaging ways is because of my relationship with her. It wasn't until I got the nerve to allow her to come into one of our sessions.
Mhm.
And it was during that session where that great therapist, um, she led it and everything else. And then at the end, I didn't get what I wanted, or not even what
Mhm.
I wanted, what I imagined it to be. Like I imagined it to be like, I'm so sorry, I love you, we gotta work together, and we just gotta, you know,
Mhm.
um, I had to learn that no matter what, you need to move forward. You need to not keep certain what's the word I'm looking for? Certain movements that I was doing in continuation and try in hopes to have this relationship with my mom. It was
Mhm.
like, let it go, learn new ways to talk to your mother,
Mhm.
learn new ways to interact with your mother, because you
Mhm.
have to learn that this is who she is.
Mhm.
So yeah, unlearning those things was hard. It was hard, but
Mhm.
but to be honest, it actually kind of almost saved my life. It really did in so many
Mhm.
ways.
Mhm.
I
You
hope I
know,
answered what you were.
everything is always the right answer, right? Right? Everything is always the right answer. And what I am grateful that you share, and what I hope that people hear is, just because you're working on all of the stuff does not mean that the people around you are doing any damn thing. Because half of them are choosing to opt out of that kind of healing and that kind of work because it's not easy. And I think, for so many people, it is like we all have this desire of wanting, I kind of remember the moment when I realized that I would not have the traditional, even though my mother had mental illness,
Mhm,
when it clicked, like, you're not going to have a traditional relationship.
mhm,
And these are the things that you need to do for that, And
mhm,
so when you're getting help and nobody else around you is getting help, like,
mhm.
it's not going to be warm and fuzzy. It's going to continue to be, they're going to continue to be themselves because they haven't made a choice, or maybe they have made a choice and their choice is, I'm not doing nothing, and you gonna be okay with that, or whatever. And so, but just to know that you get to navigate around that, and that you
Yeah,
can't make anybody choose to be well, no matter how well you get, that
that part.
yeah, it may not still be their choice, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you, and I think for so many people around the parental relationships, because I think a lot of things happen like in the 70s, 80s, around
Mhm,
parents and substance,
mhm,
um
mhm,
and out of the home,
mhm,
like that's
mhm,
when, sometimes the men were there and then they weren't there as much, and then it was all of the
mhm,
other dynamics, and then certain, because even in Detroit, if the plant closed, and that had a huge impact on the city with people working, and then what does that lead to, but
mhm.
okay, now the man isn't working, or the woman isn't
Right,
somebody's not working, and then they may go into a depression. It's like all of the things that lead to the stuff that
right.
make some of these parental relationships and dynamics a little challenging, and people don't choose always to, like, really look at, wow, this thing about parents and children has been going on for the 6 or 7 generations, or whatever the stuff is around communication, or
Right.
a lot of people, oh, that's just how they are, that's this, they do that, that's just them. And so you
That's
just got,
true.
and
That's
then it's
true.
like, yeah, and it's like, but they're being an asshole,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, because my college friends used to make that excuse for me as well.
Mhm.
that's just queen.
Mhm.
Like, and during college, my mom was in the beginning stages of getting herself together,
Mhm.
and everything else like that. But I was still in the stage of chaos and
Mhm.
anger and things like that. But one thing I have to say about the journey is that even though I saw what I saw during the therapy and everything else like that, I still was a little hesitant of the therapy. I kind of was like, well, maybe it's my fault that she didn't respond the way she didn't
Mhm.
respond. And
Mhm.
it took me maybe a couple of years, not maybe, it took me a couple of years, a few years afterwards to
Say, just go
really.
ahead and tell the truth.
Right. To be able to be like, oh my God, like I really cannot change this person.
Yeah.
And this is who she is. And I was told that, but I'm thinking, just like with even the abusive relationships, like, as long as I show you love, as long as I give you this, it's going
Mm.
to change your thinking because I'm enough and you're going to. And I
Right.
made it really about me. And it wasn't really about me. It was really
Uh-uh.
about them. And
Mhm.
it took, I'm just gonna say it, right? It took a situation where um it took a situation where my I was in danger,
Mhm.
and the person that I loved and I wanted to have the relationship with the most put me in that situation, by allowing my abuser to know where I was and things like that. So then that's what took me to the point where I had to realize, like, damn, it was already told to me a couple of years ago. I understand why I didn't understand that, because if like, I would, me as a mother, but I'm a present mother, and I'm
Mhm.
things like that. But it took me to be in a dangerous situation to where my mom kind of put me in there, to realize, like, but I'm gonna need some distance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like I said, some people, they, for their own dynamics, for them it was maintain the relationship, maybe, because that was a thing that women did. Like, it didn't matter sometimes that you were in an abusive relationship, so long as you get part of a man or half a man or whatever the thing is, that was okay. And that has been a message for so many women, that you don't leave, or you don't this, or that's your child's father, so you got to, or whatever, whatever the story is behind their choices of what they didn't change in their lives, so they think it's okay when you said, you can do that if you want to, I'm choosing different, so. And I think that as you make different choices, it does make people somehow a little bit have to look at themselves.
Yeah.
What they
It's-
choose to do with, listen, what they choose to do with the look, we don't know. But I think that, because some people, because you don't have a choice but to, like, dang, she done chose a whole lot of different stuff and her life has ended up differently. So it's like, it get, just saying.
I,
Um
I I know, and I was that black sheep. I'm still that black sheep, but I'm
mhm.
a black sheep for a good reason, and not so. Like I said,
Okay, you went out for a second. Okay, you froze for a second.
oh,
So can you repeat that, please?
yeah. I said it came to a point where I would love to say that that person reflected on their own self to be
Hmm.
like, hey, maybe I should change. But
Uh-huh.
I don't really think that was the case, because there was other things involved. But I just came to the point where
Hmm.
I just knew that the biggest thing that I needed to prioritize was me and my relationship with my kids.
Yeah.
That's when I knew that I needed to give more to them instead of what it was. And going back to what you were saying as far as, oh, that's the father of your kids and things like that. Um, that was part of it, but most
Mhm.
of it was self.
Mhm.
It was what I can get out of it. What's given to me for this information, what is, things like that.
Yeah.
And
When
and
people.
and and
Mhm.
not bringing up old things because
Mhm.
I'm past that, but I'm just
Yeah.
telling the truth on what it was.
Well, all of this is part of the story of life. And so it's not even about, because you're not emotionally attached to the truth. It's just the truth. Like there comes a time where it's like you get to say it and it's just the truth. And you're not, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's just like, nope. So this is what happened. So it's a different
At
kind of
this point, it
energy.
is right.
Yeah, it's a different kind of energy. So it's not even that it's bringing it up, but it is explaining what you were answering. As you were answering the question, it was like there was a specific thing that was your
Mm-hmm.
kind of pivot moment. And that was the thing that was like, okay, this is like for real, a non-negotiable, for me and my family in this moment. So we got to move different. And you took it. And there are so many people who are scared to take that. Even when they've been placed in positions, they still have a hard time letting go. So, it takes a different kind of courage to make those kind of pivots and choices and decisions to put yourself and your safety first,
Right. That
so.
it does. For
Mhm.
me anyway, because I always growing up, it was like family first, well, God first, family
Mhm.
after, things like
Mhm.
that. And you never sell out your family, no matter what they
Mhm.
do, no matter how much you hurt.
Mhm.
That's your family. You
Mhm.
don't do that. And I had to be okay with too. Like, I'm not gonna talk about you in a vicious way to other people, but I am going to detach myself and be okay with not being a part of that element. And there was a little joke, and I'm just gonna. It was a Capricorn joke, and I'm a Capricorn, and
Uh-huh.
the joke was like, people be thinking that like I care about being their friends when I'm not even a family member at this point, right? And I started laughing, and I was
Uh-huh.
just like, I felt that, and I didn't
Mhm.
feel it just because it was like, yeah, because I'm not, but I
Mhm.
felt it because I thank God, I do thank God, I thank God, I thank God, I thank God that my focus is really on me and mine now, and
Mhm.
I would allow any and everybody that wants to be consistent, wants to show me love and respect, and including my kids, to be in my circle. But at
Right.
this point, no matter who you are, if you
Mhm.
can't get that, you're not going to be in my circle
Right.
regardless of who you are at this point, because
Right.
I got two kids that really need me, and I need
Mhm.
them too.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Uh, what do you think? What do you think that people would be surprised to know about
Ooh, I'm not gonna share what I really feel like they would be surprised.
you?
You know what? To be honest, and I was joking around with somebody I know and that I respect. I was
Mhm.
telling her, I was like, I don't understand my students. I was telling them that certain things about me and what went through in life, and they be like, I can't believe it. So the things that I would say that would surprise people is that I truly went through some things in my life, and I
Mhm.
truly picked myself back up to the
Yes.
point where I had to go into shelters, to the point where I had to actually resign, to the point where I had to move out of state and then come back and then reinvent myself. And I thank God for my other therapist in New York that pushed me when I was
Mhm.
scared to
Right.
be like, yo, you got this stuff, you got the credentials, why
Yeah.
are you scared to move it further? And I'm like, because I don't know, and I realized it was still the self-sabotaging ways that I
Mhm.
didn't believe in myself, and then I didn't have enough love, self-love at that time. So, because people really believe that, they see me and they're like, "Oh, she's well put together." Yeah,
Yeah.
I look good
You're like,
like
"Thank
that.
you."
Mm. But I got it out of the mud. Trust me when
Uh-huh.
I tell you. I got it out the mud. And another thing is that I honestly forgive people instantly,
Mhm.
and two, I can't,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or that you still do it when you can and it just ends up looking different.
That part.
It may come with some different kind of changes that if forgiveness may be, some of it may still allow you access, and some forgiveness may no longer allow you access.
No, no. Some forgiveness do not allow you access to me anymore. And I think, before I felt like forgiveness meant like they can have you, whatever, and
uh,
this and that, the
uh,
third. But no,
uh,
I learned that. I know I forgive you. It ain't no beef.
yeah, and
Trust
I
me when
will
I tell
never
you.
talk to you again.
But you can't come to my house. You can't really be around my kids. Like that. But you cool as long as you
Yeah,
stay over there.
right,
That's
all the
it.
way up. Yeah.
All the way over there. So yeah, that part. So
So
yeah,
what would
that part.
what would you say motivates you
What motivates me?
or inspire?
To be
Yeah,
What was that last part?
motivates or inspires.
Inspire. Well, I can go with the inspire first because that's the
Mhm.
easiest, right?
Mhm.
Um, what inspired me honestly is my grandmother still to this day.
Mhm.
Um, and the reason why she still inspires me because there was times when I doubted myself and she was like, "Well, baby, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and finish that master degree." You know what I'm saying? You already started. Like,
Uh-huh.
what you doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So sometimes when I want to give up, even like right now, I'm about to graduate and what May 20th, and I have this one project that I need to finish, and I'm like, oh my god. I When I first started school again,
Uh-huh.
and we talking about after my second master's because this is going into my third.
Uh-huh.
And when I started this part, because it's been like what 5? Wait, how many? Well, like six,
Mhm.
7 years. That paperwork is totally different than just give me a math problem. Let me solve that. Give me some proofs. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some postulates. Let me give me that. But my point is that I always hear my grandmother in the background, like just do it, finish it out,
Mhm.
complete it. You got
Mhm.
it. You enough. Because she wasn't affectionate, but when she needed to be, when it was like enough is enough for her, like seeing me, you
You're
know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, okay, I don't know what you doing, but
Yeah, but
I'm
we
gonna
about
need
to.
you to get it all the way together. That she Every single day I think of my mom. I think of my grandmother who raised me. So that is, and the other one was what keeps you going?
Motivates, yeah.
What motivates me? What motivates me honestly at this point in my life, and it's gonna sound cliche,
Mhm.
what motivates me is just being a better person for my kids, just
Mhm.
being a better person because I make mistakes. There's times when I say things to my kids and I'm like, um come here please. I apologize, I'm so sorry of the way and this wasn't even
Okay, hold on. Natasha?
it's buffering. Okay, you
Yeah.
see me now?
Yeah, because it's
What's the
like
last
your
thing you
stuff is
heard?
just sound real like we missed all of the good stuff because it was
So like I said, there's times when I have to regroup myself. I have to
yeah.
check myself.
Mhm.
Because when you really love somebody, love is not gonna allow you to go to bed knowing you did somebody wrong or
Yeah.
possibly hurt them. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
have to make sure that my household at the forefront. And I speak to my kids straight up, like,
Mm-hmm.
I messed up. I shouldn't
Yeah.
have never said that because I didn't even mean that. I
Right.
was already upset, but your mouth, and you got to let them
Yeah.
know too, because I can only take but so much.
Right.
Who? I am your mother at the end of the day. I do
Yeah.
let you speak your truth. I need you to understand that there's a rubric. and to
The
get to
best
number
language.
5, right. It says that I need to mind my words and how I speak to my mother, right? Because
Yeah.
you might get me on a good day, but on that good day, I still need to apologize, and I still need
Yeah.
I need to
Mm-hmm.
humble myself because I don't want my kids to be scared of me. I don't want my kids to
Mm-hmm.
know that think that they got to speak to somebody else or
Mm-hmm.
anything else like that. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
us. It's
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I have done the same. I've had to go back and be like, dang, oh, yeah, that could have been a better way to did that.
You do that, right?
It's the thing because I think that we made a decision about our children being able to speak, but we still,
Right.
I don't know about you, but for me, I
But
still had old school values. So I was like, oh, speak your mind, speak your mind. But then when it came to me, I'm like, well, who the hell are you talking to? And I was like, I had to get that together because it's like, no, Latricia, you the one that said speak your mind. And so when it comes around, we just got to work on the tone. And that was the thing. And
yeah,
that's when, like that was the big thing because I am sensitive to tone, but
me
I
too.
am okay with you saying what you need to say. So, and sometimes I may need to breathe through it or whatever, just so I can stay present, because it's like, oh, I don't know, you know. But we learn and we are not perfect. And so there are times and that was one of the things that I think came the easiest was apologizing because my dad did not do that much. So I made sure that that was the thing that I did. So it's like even when you know that you're not right, I just think it's so much easier to just say, I apologize, I'm sorry, whatever the thing is. That's so
Right.
much easier than acting like you wrong. When you just know that you're wrong. It's
you
like, come
know,
on.
you know when you know, like, look,
Right. It's like
your
you really
conscience
gonna
would
do
even, girl. And going back to what you saying, yeah, me
this?
too with the old school values. Like,
Yeah.
it's so much so that I allow them to have their voice that it kind of like, wait a minute. That's not what you're still a child. And I'm still
Yeah.
your mama, and things like that. But no, it's the same thing. The old
Yeah.
school values, because you
Hmm.
still gotta watch what you say and how you say it to me, but
But you
I
can
don't
do it.
need to react in
Yeah.
certain ways, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 So is there anything that you feel that people misunderstand about you?
Absolutely.
What would that
a,
be?
a lot of people, you know what people misunderstand about me is that me being quiet sometimes is saying that I'm oppositional,
Hmm.
and things like that.
Hmm.
No, I really don't have nothing to say. Like, no, go ahead and do your thing. Or because I'm quiet, don't, things
Hmm.
like that. And then another thing is that because I am quiet, things like that, and I don't always speak to people. She's sneaky. I'm not sneaky, not at all.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get, sweetheart. I just don't got nothing to say to you, really,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
And another thing is that people don't understand that I truly, uh, by default, and sometimes I talk to God like, why?
Hmm.
Dude, I want to be mad at this person. Why am I still giving this person who did me wrong a second chance? Why am I trying to like come
Hmm.
up with resolution?
Hmm.
People don't understand that I really truly love people for who they are and
Hmm.
what they are. And I'm gonna always try to look for a resolution before I'm gonna try to look for anything else.
Right. And I think it
Yeah.
stresses people because I don't think, us weren't taught to seek that first,
Nah,
or if
not
it
my
was,
family.
it was not necessarily in the most peaceful manner. I'll just say.
That part. That part. I'm about to say like big girl. But yeah, no. People have so many, what's the word I'm looking for? Where people so much judgment against
Hmm.
who I am. And sometimes I have to say, and I thank God for my nonprofit. I
Hmm.
do, because my nonprofit speaks for itself. I don't have to do anything. You know,
Right.
when I left the shelter, I said I wanted to be the
Mm,
change that I needed and wanted or got, because I'm not going to
right.
sit here and be like, "Oh, I didn't get nothing when I was in." No, I did get help. I
Right.
did get help, and I knew that I wanted to be that person for these people. And if
Right.
you look at it, I'm yes. Know that first
Yeah.
and foremost, you can talk to me. Talk to me. Or because
Mm-hmm.
I'm quiet don't mean that I'm not approachable. You can
Right.
talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just I keep myself to myself nowadays, and I keep my mouth closed, and people don't know how to take that.
Yeah, and
Plus
I
I'm
think sometimes.
cute. Plus I'm cute and I sit pretty. You know what I mean? Like a Zeta should, and I had to do that. Okay. Find a woman. Okay. No, I'm just playing. God.
Listen, do your thing, do your thing, So, and I think, maybe because you did, have a time where you were probably more outspoken, that when you do make I think when you get to a certain level of peace, that a lot of things you just don't choose to use your energy for. That's what I'll
Mhm.
like. I think that and you're just like, you're so good with a lot of things, and it just doesn't even matter, because when you get to a certain level of peace, you're just like, is that really gonna make or break me? Or, like, does it really matter? Or, like, a lot of things don't bother you the same way.
It doesn't, and that's what people need to realize too, because
Mm-hmm.
like even I mean, I still go through things now,
Yeah.
you know, and everything. Just dealing with people,
Mm-hmm.
you go through things, and what people need to realize is that you can try, but at the end of the day, I handle situations when it need to be handled, and I let it go. Meaning,
Yeah.
if I have to still follow up, I'll follow up. But
Right.
I'm not coming into my household and making it a thing. I don't like.
Yeah.
You're not getting that. You're not
Right.
getting not at this point.
Right.
Not at this point.
So, what would you say that you're the most proud or grateful for?
Well, one of them is my education. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I am proud of is my education. That set me apart. That
Mm-hmm.
also made me a target because education wasn't celebrated in my family. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like,
Ooh,
but
masters.
huh?
I said masters on masters wasn't a big deal.
Right. But I am thankful for that. But I am also thankful for forgiveness.
Mhm.
Forgiving myself. To
Yeah.
be honest, that's the biggest thing that I'm proud of, because if I didn't forgive myself, there wouldn't be no education. If I
Mm,
didn't forgive myself, there wouldn't be no relationship with my kids. If I didn't forgive myself, there wouldn't be no forgiveness for you. You know, because
mhm.
I I know how to drag it if I have to.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
the point where it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, leave me
Mhm.
alone or whatever. But I am proud of forgiveness of myself. It's still a process. I'm
Mhm.
not like 100%, because there are moments where I can do a little bit more, where I'm like, now you knew better than that. You're better than that. Why would you subject yourself to that? You know,
Mhm.
things like that. So I
Mhm.
have to still work on some things, but at the forefront, I do definitely make sure that I forgive myself
Nice.
so I can move
And that's
forward.
good. Yeah. Um
That therapist in Charlotte taught me that.
She sounds
We ain't gonna name no
so
names yet.
wonderful. Yeah, she sounds like a wonderful person.
She
Absolutely.
actually was. I don't know if at the time she knew how great she was, but she knows how great she is now, though.
So, what would you say is a place or what have you that you experience joy?
I didn't hear that last part. You kind of like
A place
you
that
said
you
what?
experience joy. Joy.
Oh, a place where I experience joy. I know this is gonna sound corny,
We love the
but
corny.
I do experience joy in my conversation with my kids, but I also experience joy in the classroom. I truly do.
Nice.
I don't know what it is. I don't even know why it is, but I do know that it was ordained by a
Hmm.
higher power, because I didn't go to school for education initially. I went for computer science.
Oh wow.
Education just so happened to fall in my lap, and it didn't fall in my lap by happenstance. It really fell in my lap because God really wanted me to do that, because He knew that I was going to be the person that was really going to love on these kids when nobody else would, or
Hmm.
nobody else even cared to, because I've been in some of the hardest districts in New York City. I've been in some of the dumping grounds of New York City, where teachers are just there because they're like, I can skate.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about these black and brown kids,
Hmm.
so I can do that. You understand?
Right.
So I do. I get joy in my classroom, and I definitely get joy in my kids.
Nice. Yay.
I would say I get joy in something else, but that wouldn't be this conversation right here.
It's all of it is part of the conversation. We all get to be human and let everybody hello, like what?
I get joy in adulthood too. I get joy in that too. Let's not lie. God is a good guy. You know what I'm saying? So He allows certain
Listen,
joy.
listen. How about the liberation that say that? You know what I'm saying?
That part. That
Like
part.
tell the whole truth. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
All the
Let's not
way.
act like holier than thou. God knows what was on my mind right now. I was like, girl, do I tell the truth or the whole truth? It's
You
not.
tell the whole truth, amen. You know, because somebody need to hear that. We listen. We freeing people today.
I listen. I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, li- my love language. You know what my love language is, yeah. But yeah, I get joy in that too. I get joy in yeah, significant other holding me,
Yeah.
and we exchanging certain pleasantries, and just enjoying each other in that moment. I definitely
Amen.
do, even if
You
it's
said it's
by
so nice to
myself. Never
listen.
stop.
I mean, let the truth be known for all of
Dollars,
us.
dollars, son. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Please don't
Listen,
cancel me.
listen. I can't say that I am. So that would be that.
Oh,
You
that's
listen,
just me. A lot of people don't
listen to their
understand
own self. Listen to their own self be true and know that self first before somebody else.
that part, and that's the part that people don't know about me too. I'm such a jokester, but I always tell the truth in my jokes too, though. You know
Right.
what I mean? And and
I,
and I love having a good time. I love.
right.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go into that, but yeah,
Yeah.
next
And
part,
you know,
next.
we I think everybody got the hit.
Right, that part.
Oh my goodness. So what do you do to to assist with overcoming challenges? What are some of the skill set things that you've used to assist you to overcome challenges?
All right, let's get out of that part. Let me change my
Bring it
mind,
back
because I
in.
was about to
Bring
say
it
what helps me to overcome some challenges is, let me stop. Let me stop. Um,
in.
what was the question again? What helps me overcome some
Overcome
challenges?
challenges. Yeah.
Prayer.
Okay.
Prayer is a big part of overcoming challenges, and to be honest, also speaking up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That helps me a great deal, because it was times like I said, I would never do it. You
Right.
you pretty much can say and do, and I'd be like, no, it's gonna get better.
Hmm.
Never do. I don't
Yeah.
know why I didn't get better, because I felt like as long as I was quiet and I just wanted for the best, it should get better. It wasn't until I started speaking up for myself.
It will no people don't have a reason to change if you're just gonna allow the behavior. Like nobody's gonna be inspired to do anything different if they can get away with doing the bare minimum, I think.
That's
You
true.
know. So it's like there's no inspiration to do anything else if you're just like allowing.
That's true.
So
No,
yeah.
it's true. Even at
Yes.
work, it's
Hmm.
true.
Yeah, so it makes
Mhm.
a huge difference. So believe it or not, we're coming to the close. It wasn't so bad. And kindness does matter. Yes. And so
No,
if
it
there,
wasn't bad. It
yeah.
wasn't bad at all because I normally would never do this, but because, like I said, I did trust you, I do trust you. I knew that it was only for my best. So I was like,
Hmm.
I was trying to think of. I was like, what excuse would be so good? Oh my God! Wait, what can
Not
I
after you
say?
said, yeah.
Wait, I didn't get your link. I don't know. Yeah, but I thank God I came on, and I
Yeah,
thank God
I'm
that you was
grateful.
my therapist in Charlotte.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, and I have been so blessed to meet some amazing people from what I have done and been doing for years. I mean, some of the, you being one, that are phenomenal in what you do, that that has been, out here helping the community, got your nonprofit, just been doing really whatever masters that you're on, like I only have one, but you go on it, you know what I'm saying? And so like
He said, whatever message you
I can't keep up because you do a lot and you get, from the different certifications and everything else. And, the resilience that you have had from breaking out of the cycles of family and then also the relationship stuff and everything else to go on to continue to build on who you are. Like, I'm super proud of all of the things that you're continuing to accomplish. Your kids are phenomenal because, okay, however many, I'm noticing your son, like however many schools he got accepted in, got offers for,
shout out to my son.
yeah. So I'm like,
But
you have been doing, your own work that shows outside of you.
I'm gonna stop you right there. But also take revel in that, right? And I know you are
Hmm.
because I hear what you're saying, but just take revel in that because you were the one that started me off with the process with Lewis Hayes
Hmm.
and that letter that I had to write to my mother that was so hard for me. Like it was so hard. I don't know how many weeks it took me to finally do it, and to be and you was like just do it. I'm not going to share it with her. You don't have to share it with anybody. It's
Right.
really for you. And that
Yeah.
was like the start of me understanding like, oh wow, I don't have to share everything with everybody. I don't have to do this with like this could just be for me and I can actually write this letter, but I can
Hmm.
say exactly how I feel without me feeling like I'm
Being disrespectful. Because,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
we, that whole respect thing be throwing everybody off.
Right.
Even when the stuff that you
That
don't even
part,
tell the
that
people,
part.
you know, everybody be like, if I put it on paper, is that still disrespectful?
You are you already know. You already know. You
But
already know.
it's a theme. It's not like that's just for you. It's a theme
Right.
where people have such a hard time being honest about the stuff that wasn't so great.
Yeah.
We're okay with saying the good stuff, but we're not, we're not taught to be honest because everybody kind of dismiss the stuff that isn't so good. We don't tell the truth
Right.
about, no, that was really jacked up, or nah, that was messed up too, and you ain't show up, or what, like, we
Mhm.
don't call the thing. We do the understanding, and I know that I'm that way a lot. I Because I know sometimes everybody's stuff, some, that makes them act a certain way, and I'm talking about like family or what have you, just in my
Mhm.
personal life, then I always show a little bit more compassion where I could do a better job at times of creating
Mhm.
different boundaries, and everything else too. Because it's like, well, I get this and I get that and I get that and I know it, but that still doesn't, make it okay for people to have their behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, but I will revel in that and thank you so much and I appreciate it. And I'm so, like, literally, like, but you made a decision. So you get to revel in that you made a choice that even when it was extremely uncomfortable and I don't care how many weeks or years it took, that you still was diligent in doing the work, because that's what I always tell people. When you start making a choice to do therapy, if you for real serious about therapy, it ain't for the faint of heart. It's
Girl,
not.
no, it's not.
It's like you need some combat boots. You
Yes,
need
ma'am.
you need all of the
Yeah,
stuff because
seriously.
it's not for the faint of heart, and that's why a lot of people don't choose to go through with, or they'd like to stay surface, because like to actually get the mirror out
Mm,
or unlearn or whatever, that takes like work, it takes practice, it's not going to happen overnight, it takes all of the stuff. So like
it
I said what
does.
I listen. I said what I said. I meant what I said. That you have been
You gotta be for
amazing,
that. You gotta be ready for that ugly cry when it comes to therapy. I mean, like
honey.
that really passionate, ugly cry.
You're gonna get one or two in, and then everything kind of, you're gonna get a couple in first, and then it gets lighter. But until you get those
Right,
in, you
right.
skating. You skating over some stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so what would you like to promote and your closing words of encouragement?
All right, I would like to promote Flying 360. Go to www.flying, that's FLYING, the number three, and the word 60 SIXTY.com or .org, and go check out what we've been doing in the community. And if you are in New York, join us in what we're doing, because you'll love what we're doing. Trust me when I tell you. And
Okay.
what I would like to close out, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
is check out Latricia Penny. Go to the root of the matter. If anything, you're grieving, if you're going through what I went through, not understanding who you are and with your family dynamic, you have somebody right there in Charlotte who really cares. And not only that, she's definitely has a broader compass just being a therapist, but I don't have to speak on that. She go check her out on at her website as well. Definitely.
Well, thank you very much. So,
Thank
we're
you.
coming to a close, and I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been amazing. Thank you for the people who have joined. Thank you for those who will see later. Once again, you can check out Natasha at flying360.com. I'm sure there's a donate thing on there if you want to help her with all of the things that she's doing, because she is constantly giving back to the community, constantly clothes drives, food, different things. It's always something going on that she's doing. So
I be
so
forgetting about the donate part, and that's why my business partner be saying I'll be horrible, because I just do things and be forgetting that people can actually donate, and please do.
right. So and this is how passionate she is about what she does, that she don't even be asking for donations. She just go ahead and do it. So but I remember that she got a donate button, or she should have a donate
I do.
so
Flying
that if
360 Cash App. All right. And then for Zelle is Natasha Carter at Flying 360.
so Natasha Carter at flying360.com. So, because it got funky again.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to make sure that you all get that if you want to donate. And we're closing in. And so, thank you all for joining, and you all have a great evening. Peace and blessings.